Hey guys, Jake here. Today's video we're going to be setting up the tank behind me. This is the Boyds Forest Dragon tank. You guys have already seen it. But we're going to be setting it up correctly and making it a bioactive habitat. So this is a how-to bioactive for a Boyds Forest Dragon. We're going to start with the clay media balls for the bottom, which is your drainage layer. So I'm going to open this bag and chuck them in and we'll pick it up from there. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so here we have the clay balls. These were purchased just off eBay. I think this whole bag, I think it's a 10-litre bag, cost me it was about $30, and this is by Orku, which you can see there. So let's get these into the tank, and that's the first layer there. Let's go. Alrighty, here we have it. So we've got our layer of clay balls down, about an inch, not much at all. I need a pretty good substrate layer to also allow for my plants to grow as well. But here we have the drainage layer down. Now we need to get some fly screen or filter mat down to divide the soil from our drainage layer. So let's get into that. Okay, so now we've got our filter wool layer down. Ideally, it would be much better to either use one solo sheet of filter wool or you've got the actual fly screen layers. Unfortunately, I didn't have any. I thought I had a roll of it, but I must not. So I've just used filter wool. Now, unfortunately, it is in little tiny strands. Whoopsie days. Unfortunately, it is in little tiny strands, which is a little bit annoying, but it will still do the trick. So let's get our substrate in. Okay, and for our substrates, we've got a few different things. I've got the pre-existing soil, which is already cultured with a whole lot of springtails, and we are going to add more of those as well. But this is a mix of soil and cocoa fiber, which is great for the plants. And then we've also got a new brick of cocoa fiber as well, which we're going to add just to top it off and make it look a little bit nicer. So let's add the soil and then I'll pick it up from there. So here we have it. Our substrate's now in. So I've got the soil mix underneath and I've topped it off with the cocoa fiber. So what we're going to do now is start putting in our hardscape, and then we'll plant our plants around that. So let's jump into it. Okay, so one of the first pieces I'm adding is this nice bit of wood here. It's a straight stick. I just wrapped a bit of a fake vine around it, and it also has a little bromeliad growing on it too. So, alrighty, we've got that stick in, and now I'm just going to go through and add the rest of other plants and sticks. Well, I'll just add the sticks for now. So let's jump into that. Okay, so here we have it so far. This is the the branch structure, sorry, I should say, which I'm pretty happy with it. So we've got a few great straight up sticks and a few others as well. So basically now what we've got to do is find where we want to put the plants and finish it out, and then it's all good to go. So let's get into it. Okay, so what we're going to do, essentially our larger plants, such as our parlor palms, are going to obviously go towards the back of the tank. We don't want them covering too much of our foreground. So let's get our tall plants in. Okay, so here we have it. We've got our parlor palms, and I also added our ficus as well at the back there. So that's sort of the background plants filled in. Now we're going to add some of our mid-ground to our front fillers as well. So let's get that, and once that's done, we can start to add leaf litter and all the other botanicals and stuff like that. So let's get into it. Here we have it. So it's pretty basic, it's simple, but it's going to work. There's plenty of spots at the back underneath all that lush plants for the Boyds to hide if they need to hide. And then obviously once our plants start to grow in a bit more as well, it'll be quite full and great. So pretty good, pretty simple. What we're going to do now is I'm going to quickly flick on the mister just to give it a quick mist down. Let all the plants get watered in pretty much. And this is how the Boyds get their drink as well. This sprays every 4 hours, and when I normally put it on, it goes for 2 minutes. And that's why the drainage layer is really important in this tank, because it gets so much moisture and spray that it's really important that it doesn't just sit there in the mud and make the dirt turn into mud, sorry. So there we go. Let's add our springtails, and then let's add our inhabitants. So I'm sure some of you will ask, what are springtails? So springtails are little bugs, and you can see them there. They're hydrophobic, which means that if I was to fill this container up with water, like I'm doing now, once we get to the top, you'll notice that they actually just float on top of the water. So they can't actually drown, which is a great way to then add them to your terrarium, because once you've filled it up with water, you just tip it out. I won't get rid of all of them. But now, there's a whole heap of little springtails in our terrarium. Okay, so what do Springtails do? Springtails help your bioactive setups by, any mold that starts to grow, especially because it's going to be a damp area, any mold that starts to grow, the Springtails will actually consume and break down. So they're going to be great at keeping this tank nice and clean. So you can see a whole bunch of them running around in there. And that won't take long until that starts to double, multiply, triple, everything in quantity of those Springtails. And then they'll keep the tank nice and healthy. Then what I can do is when I want to establish other tanks, I can just grab a handful of the soil from here, and that will be packed full of Springtails to start the next culture. Or, like I did, just don't tip them all out, and then it's as simple as having them in here, and then in a couple weeks, this thing will be booming with some more Springtails, which is really cool. So this time I also have not added any of the artificial plants back. I used to have an old man's beard and just an exoterophycus plant in here as well, but I've removed that. So now it's 100% all live plants. It pretty much was for the most part anyway beforehand, but now it is 100% live plants only, and I'm quite happy with it. It looks a lot different to what it did in the previous setup, but this is going to be a little bit more practical for them because now they've got heaps of straight sticks and it's really lush and coverage for them. So hopefully the plants do well with the move and adapt and acclimatize really well. And yeah, so here we have the 4 little dudes. They're powering along. They're about double the size from when I originally got them. So let's open the container and let them explore. Last one to the tank. There you go, little fella. No. You want to leave? There we go. Oh, straight in. So there we have all 4 of them in here. There's 1, 2, 3, and number 4 is back there. This is awesome. I'm going to give it another mist down so that way they can get some hydration into them real quick. And yeah, hopefully the plants do well and have adapted and will acclimatize to the move. And hopefully they don't die off too much. But that is the setup, and a fly just went in. Let's chuck some crickets in here as well and see if they're hungry. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. That is going to bring this video to an end. Hopefully you did enjoy the new Boyds Forest Dragon Bioactive setup. You can see our drainage layers there. The filter mat didn't do the best job, but oh well, it will work. It will stop it from getting too muddy in there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment down below on any other suggestions you guys might have for upcoming videos. There is a reptile room update in the works. Just got to finish a few more things. And then that will be a pretty basic one until there's another big update coming once we get a few new enclosures from a friend, which will be great. Yeah, big plans coming for the channel and a few other videos. So, but yeah, anyway, just sort of rambling on now, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.